No.
I never went to ESL.
I was placed in like English language learner classes up until the 4th grade, and it always seemed weird that I would get pulled out of class. So I felt like I was dumb in a way, because like not everybody would be taken out of class. But 3rd or 4th grade was the year when they took me out of that, and 5th grade was when I was placed into the gifted program.
I wouldn't say it was a program, but surprisingly, when I was like in first or K through, or at least for what I remember, K through 2nd grade, we were doing Spanish and English in our classrooms. So we had like Spanish journals, we had Spanish readings, we had English journals. I found that pretty interesting because like, you know, as a kid, I was like, you know, we're being taught Spanish, and that's weird because like looking at it now, it's like, wait, English wasn't the only thing that was taught to me. You know, I was also practicing Spanish, so I think that's pretty cool.
No, it's absolute bullshit. It's not the parents' fault. The parents barely have enough money, most probably, for that. They don't have those resources. Who else will be able to translate for them than their loved ones? Which, a lot of times, their loved ones who are available are their little kids. If in any case it does leave them trauma, they don't do that on purpose. They just want, you know, they want the services that they're trying to get. They're trying to make it in a country that is, you know, that alienates them first and foremost. And so then this bullshit is just alienating them even more and making them feel bad that they don't know the language at all.
No. I didn't feel abused when I was doing it. I mean, yeah, I didn't really like doing it because it was just an extra thing that I had to do, and I just learned English and I wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly. I get a little nervous and stuff, but I didn't feel like sad about it or hurt or anything, you know. It didn't seem normal, I guess. Everyone else was doing it in the class too, it wasn't just me. I didn't feel like left out, because most of the kids in there, like, I'd say 70% of the class did that. You know? So I didn't feel like, oh, I'm losing out.
I'm trying to see it from the kid's perspective. Maybe because, like, not every kid has to do that for their parents, so then maybe they feel like kind of this heavy load of obligation to make sure they do the correct translation, because it's like dealing with adults in like important like, school.
Yeah.
So maybe they like it could cause them to like worry at night, you know, thinking like, oh my god, what if I didn't translate it properly? What if they don't understand it? What if like things got misinterpreted? I never thought about it that way actually.
But do I personally see it? I don't see it as a form of abuse because again, if you cherish communication, you're gonna benefit from that in the future. But even as a little kid, it's important to be bilingual or to at least practice both languages because you know Spanish and English are the most. I'm not, of course, you know the United States is composed of so many thousands of languages since we have so many different countries. But you know, the reality is Spanish and English is spoken mostly everywhere. So I don't think it's form of abuse. I feel like it's more helping the child in its future because I mean they're gonna benefit from it, and you know in the future they're gonna benefit from being bilingual, even if they don't speak Spanish or they don't speak English more. You know they favor one language or the other. As long as you have that knowledge or at least you know how to speak it, that's important because they can't strip that away from you.
I don't use Spanglish. Like, yeah, I do have the mentality. It's like when I'm in front of a professor, especially like a professor that knows Spanish, just Spanish. And with someone else, just English. But with friends, it's just like, yeah, sometimes some words come here and there in English and Spanish, so it's a lot more fluid. It just depends on the time and place.
Some people like to mix. I don't like that. I don't like how it sounds when you say something in Spanish and then mix it with English. So I just say, I'm speaking in Spanish, I'm speaking in Spanish. I'm done. No fucking, I'll mix that shit. And then English, I'm speaking English, I'm speaking English. And then, yeah, and when I was growing up, my mom never let us speak Spanish or English in the house. So that's probably why I do that, just keep it separate.
I think it just comes out naturally. And I don't even like realize it until like somebody calls me out doing it. It just comes naturally. Like even like when I think, it's like Spanglish. So it's like, it's 1 second I'm like English and then Spanish. And
Spanglish, yeah, it's common for me to use it, but that depends who's my crowd, who's a group of people I'm interacting with. Like, I'm not gonna speak Spanglish to a group of people who don't speak Spanish. I don't know. It depends. Ultimately, bottom line is really depends on what. I'm in a professional environment, and I guess it's just English only. Fine, I'll fucking speak English only, but I will speak Spanish because that's part of who I am. That's my identity.